Hello, my name is Maggie and welcome to our podcast, Bent But Not Broken. This podcast is created for us to have serious conversation. It's going to be our safe space where we're going to talk about divorce. We're going to talk about single parenting. We're also going to address issues of femicide, gender-based violence, and also my favorite part, we're going to talk about rebuilding and healing.
Absolutely. I'm the co-host. My name is Sharon Moazia. I'm a certified life coach as well as a content creator. Now we've created this space and it's a safe space to have honest conversations about resilience, strength, courage, and survival. We know that life bends us in ways that we never imagined.
I'm telling you.
But you don't have to be broken. And that's the whole point of this conversation. We go through so much as a people and we do not have a platform to share without being judged.
Yes.
Without feeling like you failed.
Yes.
This is that space that is going to talk about rebuilding and courage. We're not just here to get mkosi or drama from people, but we actually want to build a nation together. Right, Maggie?
Definitely. And now there's certain topics that we'll be touching, especially divorce, where I'm a divorced woman and raising my kids mostly single-handedly. There's things that you look at in churches. Those are topics we're going to address. How do churches address divorce and single parents? How do churches address kids born out of wedlock? How do siblings raise their siblings when the parent is no more there? Absolutely. There's so much that we're going to address. And as for you, Sharon, being a single parent,
I mean, I got pregnant at the age of 21. I was still in third year. So navigating motherhood as a young person was quite challenging. And the fact that my mom's a pastor in the church, that was also a different dynamic altogether. But it's been a journey of learning and unlearning. It's about intertwining cultures. My son's biological father is Xhosa ke Motswana. Those are the kind of dynamics we need to have on this platform.
Yes,
you know,
definitely.
And also the one that interests me is around blended families. It's such a big phenomenon now where we see it's Tem, Utandones Tem, you know.
Hey, let's not go on that one. I'm still saying till today. I'm not sharing.
Absolutely. So we want to give people that courage to come here and have boldness about the stories. Whether you're a divorcee, a single mother, it's not your fault. No one ever wants to be divorced or a single mother, right?
No, it's not planned. You don't get married to get divorced. You don't, sometimes it's, we say it's a mistake to have a child. You were not planning to have it. The child is not a mistake. And also we need to look at single fathers.
Yeah.
We need to look at present fathers.
Yeah.
Because those also are welcome in our space.
Absolutely. And for today's podcast, our episode is titled Mothers on the Frontline. And we have an amazing guest, Miss Dereleen James, the one and only that you all know from social media. And she's here today. She's representing a political party called ActionSA. She's known for her activism around drug, rehab, and substance abuse. And the famous letter that she wrote to our former president Jacob Zuma. So today we welcome a powerhouse, Mama Action herself, Miss Dereleen James.
Miss James, welcome to our podcast.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. The energy here is just absolutely amazing. I'm feeling right at home.
We're getting it from you. This energy, we're sucking it from you.
Absolutely. Please tell us a little bit about yourself. Where were you raised? Because now we just see you now. Ta-da! What an amazing woman.
I think everyone can tell that I'm from a community called Eldorado Park. I hail from Eldorado Park. I am the only girl child of my parents, Joyce and Barcy Southern. I am the youngest of 4 kids. I'm a divorcee. I have 3 children and a grandchild. I matriculated at CJB in Bosmont. I'm an activist. I always identify as an activist, even though I find myself in the political space. Once an activist, always an activist.
That's wonderful. Actually, when you talk about the political space, look, I'm your biggest fan. I'm every time. I was actually, when we started this podcast, I was like, I want Miss James, Bariki Mangri, the one in Parliament. And I was like, our producer is amazing. She made it happen.
Yes.
She made it happen. And
I'm
thank
so
you
delighted
so much
to
for
be
coming.
here. Thank you so
now,
much.
tell us a bit about you entering into the political arena. How did you get into it?
It definitely wasn't intentional. I've been an activist for the longest time. I think by now, most of South Africans know my background and they know my story and they know where my journey started. It started with my son, I think way back in 2012, 2013, and I'm just going to fast track the story. 2012, when he fell prey to substance abuse. 2013, when I authored that open letter to former President Jacob Zuma, saying, explaining to him what I'm going through as a parent, what our communities are going through. I think from that point, I found myself on the ground. When the president came, everyone thought I had the answers because he had responded to me. He had responded to an ordinary person from a community, and many people have written, many people, tell their sad stories every day. But for him to respond with almost the entire cabinet, I think that was something really remarkable. And with that, people started thinking that I have the know-how, which I didn't. It actually wasn't even a direct letter to him. I authored that letter on my phone that night and I sent it to a friend and I said, you know what, this is how I feel about, my situation. If I had an opportunity to express to the president, this is what I'll say to him. And lo and behold, that letter went viral. Next minute, it was on the news. It was on all radio stations. And before you knew it, I had a call from Mac Maharaj and saying that the president's coming. And he came. It was guns blazing. It was police. It was everything. The streets were being painted. The trees were being cut. Yes, it was like, it was like spring cleaning in my community. And I didn't even understand all of this. And then the day came, I think it was the 13th of May, 2013. And there I was before the president, as naive as ever, just a mother needing help with her son. And I didn't even know what to call him. I was like, hey, you guys. I didn't even do the whole honorable president and, to the ministers. I didn't know what I said. But I hope, when I addressed him, I said, I don't even know what to call you guys. What do I say to you? But I said, whoever you are, and irrespective of your titles, I need you to take off those hats today and just listen to me and hear my heart as ordinary mums and dads. And I started expressing what it is we go through. After that, I just found myself, there were kids sitting on my wall in the mornings asking for help. Mothers started coming to my house. I resigned from my job. I opened up an NGO, the Yellow Ribbon Foundation, assisted kids with at-risk learners, children in our community displaying uncontrollable behavior, caught up in bullying, in drugs and whatever. And that's where I found myself. And I felt such great fulfillment doing that I knew that through my son's addiction, I had found my passion and purpose in life. And I'm not sure how I ended up in Parliament. I met Herman Mashaba and he came to visit our church and he said, this is a voice we need, in a space and a platform such as Parliament, and, ActionSA stands with her and ActionSA has the same belief system and ActionSA's policy speak to supporting families affected by substance abuse. And right there, I found a political home. Of course, it was going to be ActionSA. And the rest is history. And I am.
And he wasn't wrong, hey? He wasn't wrong. You are a powerhouse. I mean, I watch the ad call and I read the comments as they run. Everybody's like, we can't wait for Miss James. Fight them, get them.
Oh, the pressure. You have no idea the other day, because I don't watch that. I no longer watch the comments, so I try not to read comments because sometimes, you find some mean South Africans and we haven't been given the manual or the book on how to deal with whatever comes with being on this platform, being on TV every day, being known with it. So in the beginning, it really used to get to me when people used to say the nasty things and whatever. So I don't read that. But just in the week, Kelly was saying to me, because it was really late, people were saying, hey, we're going to be late for work tomorrow. We won't be able to get up. And this was the night after we met someone at a restaurant that said, you know what, lately I've been so late for work. Because I'm up until God knows what time waiting for. And I'm like, people, please hold on to your jobs.
And you must know that I am your defense force online. Even if you're not there, I fight for you. I'm in the comment section. But what I wanted to ask you is, Chimamanda said, any man that's intimidated by me is not the type that I date. Who are you outside of work? Because I think people are intimidated by you. You know, we were just asking, do we say Miss James? Do we say honorable? Who are you? What's your favorite thing to do, you know, on a regular day, on a Sunday? What do you like?
I think I love being outdoors. I don't like being in cooped up spaces. I don't like being in malls. I think I've reached a point where, you know, when you're younger, you love going shopping and being in the mall and buying things. I think being in therapeutic, serene spaces, that is what calms me. So on a weekend, any given opportunity, just to go walk, luckily we're in Cape Town, to go take a stroll on the beach, you know, just to go walk around and just to appreciate, you know, the God-given beauty of what surrounds us, and just to sort of snap out of what has happened all week. I love music. I love old school jazz.
Yes.
You know, the Sophia Town jazz.
Yeah.
That's me. And a little bit of Kwaito. Yes, I'm you know, I grew up with that kind of music. So, but I love the jazz, just listening to some jazz on a Sunday.
And me being a single parent and having this idea of starting this and talking about divorce, single parents, and you say you're a single parent and divorce, I can relate with you on that part. Tell me how it's like to be a single parent and in your space, not in the political part, in your space at home. How do you run your household of 3 kids, managing all that as a parent? How do you manage that?
It's been very tough. It's been very tough, especially now having to run 2 households. I think people don't realize that when you go into politics, you literally uproot your entire life where you were based, and you move to, like now, we're all in Cape Town, we reside here. And it's been tough. My kids are no longer kids, though, are they? They're adults, they're grown. And I think what's one of the most frustrating things, and that many South Africans are going through now, it's the unemployment rate, you know, where our kids are unable to find jobs. So even though they adult kids, I still have to support them. A couple of years ago, 5 years ago, 4 years ago, there was an abandoned baby in my community. It was during the time of COVID. And this is why I say I have 3 kids, because I have a 4-year-old that I've adopted.
Awesome.
Yeah, so a mom was a substance user and just abandoned her when she was 2 days old, and she's now my baby. So I have a little toddler as well.
So and a grandbaby.
And a grandbaby.
How old is the grandbaby?
The grandbaby's 3, and my baby Culture, she's 4. Yeah. And then my 2
I'm sure she
adult
keeps
kids.
you very busy.
No, they do. They do. Yeah, they just left yesterday. They were here for the week, and so they visit. But it's very challenging. It's very challenging having to sort of run 2 households. But we do what we can. But luckily, I think I have an amazing support structure as well. My partner who supports me. God has blessed me like that.
Oh,
so
that's wonderful.
So I'm able to go the extra mile now.
You went through that so quickly, my partner, and then you passed that quickly. So do you have someone in your life currently?
Yes, I do.
Yes. And
I do.
Is he a firstborn? Because anybody who has to deal with your character, I'm a firstborn. And I always say the reason I'm single is because I'm a firstborn. I don't think I'll find a person who can handle the energy and the character that I am.
I think the reason why I connected with him, I always tell him that I've yet to meet someone that can make me feel safe. And I think that for me was important. So I've met someone that makes me feel safe, that makes me feel looked after, because I'm always the one fixing, I'm always the one doing, I'm always the one having to solve things. And I feel relieved now that I no longer have to step up and do all of those things, you know. So
There's hope for me.
Yeah,
there's hope for you. Hanging there. Absolutely. So I want to talk about, because you went briefly and you said you have a foundation and that your son was into addiction. Do you want to go a little bit into depth about why your foundation was started and the story with your son?
I think the reason for the foundation, I think everything, I didn't plan. This wasn't the plan for my life. I've always wanted to do what you were doing. I always wanted to be a journalist and do a little bit of interior decorating. That is what I enjoy doing. And I think God had other plans for my life. And God allowed me to go through this trauma because He was preparing me for a time such as this. So when I sit in that ad hoc committee, it's not purely based on my response, it's not purely based on what's being presented. My response is based on my years of activism, my years of engagement with these state entities, my years of sort of having a gut feeling that something's not adding up. And when I sit there and I listen to those responses, I'm triggered by instances that happened way back where it all makes sense now why we find ourselves. So when I respond, and sometimes, yes, I am angry, because believe you me, whenever I go into that house, I say to the support staff, please just nudge me 2 minutes before I question and say, D, stay calm. And they nudge me and they go, D, stay calm. And then I go, I'm calm.
Yeah.
And 5 seconds into it. And when I'm done, I'm going, oh no, not again.
But and I have to say, you remind me of my mom, right? Because the last one, poor Miss Sarah, poor woman, you're like, who are you talking to?
Yeah.
Who
are you talking to me like that?
And I was like, there's my mom, Julia. My mom you have so much courage. I just have to say this. You know how to investigate people. You know how to bring facts, not stories, not ideas. You bring facts in the table and say, there's the facts, answer for yourself. Yeah. And my mom used to always say, and mothers know. Mom would say, I'll investigate you.
Yes.
I'll find out this guy. I'll find out why you're coming home late.
Yeah.
And most people relate with you because you are a mother in that parliament. We don't want people formal wearing suits and talking things that they can't relate. You come with all of us in the township. You didn't grow up in some Constantia home or some Santon home. You understand pap and flace. You know,
definitely.
You understand all the struggles when there's a child, that there's a child dumped somewhere and there's help and you know where the child is going to end up and you step up.
I think I've when I was actually watching the Trent questioning yesterday morning, and I actually became tearful.
Yeah.
Oh.
I became tearful. I'm not even sure why. She sat there, she was crying, and I literally also felt that mother-daughter energy.
Yes.
But at some point, I had all the evidence before me, and the entire day as she was responding, I was getting all worked up because this was her one opportunity. Could she not see this? That this was her one opportunity to come clean, to get herself out of this mess and to start afresh. And she was wasting it the entire day. And it wasn't based on what I thought or what I'm thinking. I had the extracts of her phone in front of me and I was going through, did you write statements? And she'd say no. Did you know the value of the house? And she'd say no. And I would actually be reading her telling Mandla, this is the value of the house. These are the cars they own. Let's go. Where do their children attend school and whatever? And, this is his mom's house. This is the granny's house. And I was reading how they were cooking affidavits and stuff like that. And then South Africans go and they say, you need to watch your tone. You need to watch how you speak. You are not from the Madlanga. I am not an advocate. I'm not Madlanga. I'm not those ladies. Hello, I am me.
Yes.
Yes.
And I'm going to match the level of your criminality with my tone.
Yes.
We love it
because you're not in a formal you have violated our rights as South Africans.
Yes.
And we are angry about it. And I am genuinely angry about having to sit there every day when we could have been looking at other ways of advancing and bettering, services and offerings for South Africans. And here we have to be stuck almost for 6 months. Probing lies when we have no one to basically test those lies sitting with us. And before I get there, I have to run off to police stations to verify, what the statement, get the statement late a day before, and then work through 300-page statements and still be late for ad hoc because you need to verify and make phone calls and sit on your phone all the time and send messages. This is why you'll always see me on my phone still trying to probe and still trying to investigate.
Yeah.
So I'm genuinely I'm genuinely angry when I sit there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Understandably
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
And I mean, as a mother, like you said, the podcast episode is called Mothers on the Frontline. And when you see all these stories, all these liars, it breaks your heart as a mother because you're like, your life could have taken a different turn. What do you think is going wrong in our communities? Because we see a lot of single mothers, but I just don't know why people turn out to be the way that they are. Do you have any idea as to why our communities are broken?
I was having a discussion, and I've been since all of this is happening, and I find that as South Africans, I almost feel as if though we are on our own.
Yeah.
And I feel what needs to happen for us to fix our own homes, to fix our own communities, and to fix our own country. We can no longer, it's clear, depend on the state.
Yeah.
The state has
100%.
been compromised,
Yes.
unfortunately. I don't like saying this because as a leader, I believe that I'm meant to be instilling hope in South Africans. I cannot be saying that. But as South Africans, we are still alive. We can fight. We have what it takes to bring about a change. If it could take me from being an ordinary mother, daar van Eldorado Park af, who just wrote a letter, now sitting in Parliament, having the ability to change, I think so too can you. And I find what we lack in this country is voluntary compliance.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know if you get what I'm saying.
Yes.
To comply voluntarily without being policed, without being watched, without having someone standing with the shambok. Don't litter, don't steal.
Yeah.
We need to get to that point where we take ownership of our spaces, of our homes, and we comply and we do what's right, irrespective of who's watching and who's not watching. And that's what needs to happen now. We need to start advocating for South Africans to comply voluntarily and not to conform to the current status quo.
And also it goes back when we talk about us mothers, we see sometimes our young kids going in that lane out. An example, it's typical one in the township that we experience now is young kids because of the poverty running to be with older guys like sugar daddies and stuff. And knowing that those guys, sugar daddies, they have friends that can call them out. That is calling out, applying that to say, I can see that you're doing wrong as my friend, and I'm going to call you out and come back to the line of saying, not hang out with people or being around people that keep doing wrong. And we actually almost endorse it to say, yeah, Chomiami is with a 6-year-old. As we talk about like litting, like teaching from home, you teach your kids, let the car be dirty inside. We don't litter. We don't create jobs by making our communities. Because look at our townships, they are dirty. Because nobody's teaching at home. We don't litter. Let the car be dirty.
And then we blame the municipalities.
Yes.
But imagine if there was that voluntary compliance.
Exactly. Yeah.
There wouldn't be dirt. We wouldn't have the illegal spaza shops in our communities. We wouldn't give them access to our yards, and we wouldn't give them space. So at this point, that is the tool that we need to start advocating and promoting. And right now, the entire country needs to be amapimpis.
Yes,
To start that needs to become the culture. So if you're working in a certain space and your gut feeling tells you there needs to be a space and there needs to be a pocket in that company, in that state institution, where you can actually go and lodge a complaint and say, you know what, I've seen this happening, I'm feeling uncomfortable, because we know it's so rife.
Yeah, but we see them pimpis also dying like flies in South Africa. So I think we also need to protect each other as communities. If you pimpa, we all have your back,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Literally, Ubuntu needs to come back to South Africa. And we not
Yeah.
just speak about it, not just having it on paper and up against our walls. We need to start feeling it, and we need to start loving. We genuinely need to start speaking life over this country. We need to start being so passionate, and we need to fight for it with everything.
Yes.
When I was in the States, one thing that caught my attention was the fact that every second home had the American flag. And that to me projected patriotism.
Yes.
How patriotic are we when it comes to our flag? Would we much rather wear our political T-shirts or the South African flag?
Yeah. So I wanted to ask you, does it ever get overwhelming for you? The work, home life, managing being a gran and a mom. Do you ever get overwhelmed?
Oh yes. Definitely with it being a first term member of parliament. That's because I actually realize the responsibility. I actually realize and I understand the magnitude of this God-given responsibility that has been placed in my hands. I understand the depth of the task that ActionSA has been given to represent not only the people who voted for ActionSA, but to represent South Africans.
Yes.
And what I think love most about my president, Herman Mashaba, is the fact that he always says, there's you first. You are in this party because we needed that characteristic to add value to ActionSA. So you first represent the people of this country and then your political party.
Yes.
So I love that. So I love that I can show up being Dereleen and not always show up as ActionSA.
Yeah.
And sort of the two, when they marry, I think that's when, there's harmony.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that.
Yeah. That's wonderful. But you touch a bit of faith when you were talking about your son. Let's go to faith. Tell me do you have a Bible verse that you would like to share? First of all, and tell me exactly when you were going through all these hard times, even currently when you feel like you're being challenged as a mother and running an NGO and running all these things in your life. How do you find comfort in faith?
I think my favorite scripture, and I'm just, my mind's all over the place right now. It's got to be Psalm 139, verse 14, which says, "You are wonderfully and fearfully made in the image of God." So when I step into parliament, when I stepped into that precinct, I know who I am, wonderfully and fearfully made in Him. I live, I move, and I have my being in Him. We serve a big God. So when I show up big and I show up strong, not for myself, but for my community, firstly for my family. It always starts with my family. And then my community. And then my country.
Yes. Absolutely. And what would you say to that young girl looking up to you in Eldorado Park? What kind of motivation can you give that young girl who says, I want to be like Miss James when I grow up?
You are not Eldorado Park. You are not Eldorado Park.
Yeah.
And irrespective of your background, I mean, I grew up and I hail from a family.
Yeah.
I was raised by a single parent. Mevrou James kan ook huil.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Don't just make people cry. I too can cry. And it's never been easy. But as I sit here, I'm a product of my mom. And imagine someone being seen as such a strong person being a product of someone who does not have tertiary education, who does not have a matric. She dropped out probably standard 6. I'm not sure what grade it is. Standard 6, standard 7. And I can say that is my foundation. So the fact that my mom is a strong person, she's a spiritual person, she's connected, she's raised 4 kids. As you grow older, you become more appreciative as a child in terms of the investment by your parents in your life.
Yeah.
So, what was your question again?
To the young girl.
As a young girl, what would I say to the other young girls? I think do not conform to the things that's around you. And people always assume that you need to have this degree, you need to have the know-how in order to step into the next space level of your life. And you don't have to have the know-how. All you've got to do is love what you love doing every day.
Yes, yes.
And eventually you'll leap into it. I did not have the know-how to end up in Parliament. I did not have the know-how on how to get myself to where I'm at to actually love my passion.
Yes.
I did not have the necessary credentials to get me to where I am. But what I did not do was wait for opportunities in terms of what I
Yes.
think needs to happen.
Yes.
I didn't wait for someone to fund me to. I started that organization with absolutely nothing. And I always make this example. I say to people, if you want to become a teacher, start teaching under a tree.
Yes. Yeah.
You have a pencil and you have a page. And start instilling education and teach someone something. That is you teaching.
Yes.
And eventually you'll have 3 kids under the tree every morning. Eventually you'll have 5 and whatever. And somehow you'll just start and you'll basically end up where you are meant to be. So there's no such thing as waiting for the perfect opportunity.
Yes.
There's no such thing as waiting for money to go to university so that I can study political science, so that I can become a member of parliament. What this world needs, they need passionate leaders, leaders with will, and I think leaders that has been close to the people.
Yes.
The one thing that I say that I'm not going to do, and irrespective of the pressure, you need to be more professional, you need to be like this one. I am not going to conform
No.
to the things of that space, the space that I'm in.
Yeah.
Because if it was a space that we can celebrate, where the people have grown and the people of this country has been, moved forward, then I can say I'm going to conform. But based on where we're at, 30 years into democracy, I'm not conforming.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Ek gaan bly soos ek is.
I love it.
Yes. So, Miss James, looking at you, some people, the old school type of us, will say, "Ek sal blacksem."
Yeah.
I know you've been blacksamming people in the past. Have you ever blacksammed your kids? Wooden spoon, the shoe.
Don't worry, you can be a
every time you
pimpy
see-
now.
exactly.
We've got
In
you.
TikTok, we see, we listen and we don't judge with our kids. And then the
Yes.
mom say, "What you did?" And then we see how kids respond these days. And every time I'm itching, I'm like, "Yo, exalo blacksam."
Yeah.
So have you ever done that at home? The way you're laughing is like, "Yo."
Yes. Well, not now that they are
Yeah.
grown,
Yeah.
like adults.
Yeah.
Maar ja, 'n goeie pak slaag nooit vir iemand regtig seer gemaak.
Ja.
Nou en dan nodig, ja.
I'm sure when they see you there, they're like, yeah, that's our mother.
You know what was so interesting? The other day, my daughter's boyfriend was sitting there, and I can't remember what he had asked me. And I responded, and he said, "Yo, Auntie D, if only people knew that person that you are there, it's who you are here at home."
You're not acting
I was
this
like, "You're not acting.
Yeah.
The people must know you are not acting." And everyone
Yes.
agreed. They all agreed, and they were all like, "Yes, this is who you are."
Yeah.
So even though I don't want to agree all the time, but
Yeah.
I just think I hate lies.
Yeah.
I hate manipulation. And can we just get on with living proper lives? And can we just, all these things that we are dealing with, it's uncalled for, it's unnecessary. Yeah, it's frustrating.
And now, as we are almost at the end of our segment, I just want to ask you, looking back at your life, what are the key lessons that you've learned about your journey and about politics in general?
I think number one, Rome wasn't built in one day. I think many a times we want to throw in the towel because things don't go according to our way. Many a times my mother has encouraged me when I'm disappointed, when promises were made by political parties that I affiliated myself to, and I think see things don't work out. I want to back off. People make you promises, and you're like, I give up because they didn't. I think one of life's lessons, never give up because you've been disappointed by someone. Your journey is not theirs. Your plan that God has for your
Yes.
life is not their plan. So every time someone disappoints you, take it as part of the journey, take it as part of the foundation, and move on. I think, if anything, that's what I've learned. Like I'm saying, even though I think being an activist prepares you for going into the political space, I'm not sure with many of our members of parliament. Father,
Ja, God.
I don't see them. I just, like, I'm so frustrated. I'm like, but don't you live in a community?
Yeah.
And
Ish.
people always fight with me for mentioning Eldorado Park.
Yeah.
But I always believe that charity begins at home.
True.
It's always.
So imagine all 400 members of parliament start at home. Imagine they all start in their own streets. They start in their own communities. You know, charity begins at home. We need to start at home, clean up our own homes, our own
Yes.
streets, and our own communities.
Yes.
And that's where the focus needs to, and then serve. I'm not saying it needs to first be here, but the community that I hail from, Eldorado Park, they were the catalysts
Yeah.
to where I find myself today. So I can never just turn my back and say, I now serve South Africans and forget about them. I've got to go back there
Yeah.
and make good and fulfill those promises at all times.
Yeah.
I need to stay connected to the ground and to the roots.
Yes.
Powerful. Maggie?
Now, every time I feel like I want more.
I know.
I know she because I just want to ask her, like, how's your wardrobe like? Like, can I come and rate
I
it?
battle. I
No,
really
you have an
battle.
amazing
You look
wardrobe.
amazing.
Like, I want to come and rate
I
it.
battle. Yes,
Wow.
because I sometimes wish I was that woman who just had someone who just takes out your clothes in the morning and you don't have to stress and whatever. Yeah,
But do you know you look
swasa.
stunning every day?
Every day.
You look. It's like I'm like, how many hours do you put? Okay, she takes almost 2 hours to put her
I'm
makeup.
Oh,
the, yeah,
no
I'm the
ways.
girl.
How long do you take
I need
to
an
put your
hour.
makeup on?
An hour in the morning and I'm done. Yeah, I
And you're
need an
done.
hour.
An
I
hour.
match and whatever. I think years ago I would have been a lot more pedantic and made sure that every whatever.
Yeah.
But I've realized the older you get, the more you realize that there are more important things to worry about than,
Yes.
you know what,
Yes.
really putting
Yes.
together that to the T outfit and whatever.
Yeah.
So I try and be presentable,
Yeah.
but I'm not as focused on what I look like anymore than what I would have been a couple of years ago because I realized the state of the country. So on the odd day when I have a broken nail and I show up and South Africans are all focused on the broken nail and the fact that maybe your nail polished, that's the last, that's the least of my problems on that day.
Yeah.
I'm here to do a job. I'm here to serve. As
yeah.
ActionSA, we are here to serve
You're
South
here to
Africans
serve.
and we are here to fix this country, and that's where the focus is.
And my curiosity is around your thick skin when it comes to social media. I was saying to you earlier, I'm part of your defense force.
Thank you.
But do you ever go through the comments? How does it make you feel? And are you as tough? And I don't care what you guys think about me.
I think if I didn't go through the battles that life has thrown at me, I would have cared about those comments.
Oh.
But those comments are like water off a duck's back, purely because I am grounded in fact and reality of my community and we're many South Africans.
Yes.
So they don't see the many babies being abandoned that we pick up in the veld. They don't see the many mothers being beaten up by their children that's on drugs. They don't see that. They don't see getting home and not having a loaf of bread or trying to make a cup of tea and then your kettle was stolen because your son is on drugs. They don't see that. They don't see you having to look for your bag for 2 hours before you go to work because you hid it last night and you can't remember because your child is on drugs. They don't see any of that. They don't see the bodies that we find under the bed that's been killed by my neighbor's son that killed someone.
Yeah.
They've never been exposed. So those people with those negative comments, they haven't walked a mile in my shoes.
Yeah.
And that is okay. I'm grateful for that. They shouldn't, be exposed to such. So because I have that as my foundation, I don't feel I own my convictions.
Yeah.
I'm unapologetic when I show up. I'm not here. I don't sell ice cream. I'm not apologetic. I'm not here to please anyone. I am not playing into a gallery. I'm playing into healing and an opportunity for better for all of us.
Wow, that's wonderful. And to the young people out there, boys and girls, what message would you send out as you talked about the unemployment that we have in our country, and that sometimes you do contribute in supporting your kids even though they are older now, what message hope of message to the young people you would give them, as much as they love you and they watch you? What message would you say give them?
Look, I'm a spiritual person. I'd like to believe that I'm a spiritual person, and I genuinely believe that everyone has been given a God-given gift, a gift that no one else has, and that gift will definitely make room for you. So if it means starting by selling 2 tomatoes on the corner, that is employment.
Yes.
We have become so dependent on the state and on the government to give us jobs. But I believe young people are amazing. They creative minds and all of that. If we can, and I always tell this, when I speak to drug users, and I say, you didn't have money for that packet of dagga, maar jy het elke dag 'n plan gemaak.
Yeah.
You woke up with it, meant you must go steal with it, meant you walking from El Dorado Park to town. We see them walking on the streets, irrespective of how far. You had blisters on your feet. But guess what? Die einde van die dag, jy daai pakkie tik gekry. You had that determination. So that was a goal for you, and you reached your goal. Now that you're sober, now you say you don't have taxi fare. Now you come up with all of these excuses. So take that same determination that you have to do wrong. Take that same determination and apply it towards taking your life forward. See getting the product instead of seeing the many hurdles as to why you cannot achieve. And that's my message to our youth, to start sort of grouping themselves. And if you're in a group of 5 or 10 friends, surely there's someone with an idea if you still haven't found your passion. And be that community that supports the next person's idea until such time you can have your own sort of idea or business proposal or whatever it is.
And I think because they always have this imagination that it's a fantasy. If you run a business, you must have an office and computer. That's not business.
No, that's definitely not business.
With business, you solve a problem, an everyday problem that people have.
And there are so many problems in this country. Every time a problem presents itself in this country, I always see that there's an opportunity. We have a country that's known and infested by gender-based violence. There's a space for people to operate in their communities. Start NGOs. Be compliant. Reach out for funding and people. I think the one problem that we have in our country, our people are. Many, I won't, not everyone, let me not generalize. One has to watch how you say
that they come
one
for us
wrong
again.
line and then all hell breaks loose. Het jy gehoor wat het sy gesê? Ons kan nie whatever. Sometimes we are lazy to do research and to read. Google is your friend. Empower yourself. Information is freely available all over. So start somewhere, start reading. But I don't know, ons youth, we caught up in, we're obsessed with drinking and pipes and partying, and that is our culture. We never have money. But if there's a function or something and I look at all the alcohol, I'm like, but are we poor? Are we back in our communities?
And we can't even afford the stuff that they have.
And December is one of those times for me where I feel like, geez, our communities go over and upboard, because you look January when the child goes to school, the shoe,
Yeah.
the jersey. But in
Yeah.
December, the parent had enough alcohol. There was enough everything to eat. And I'm not saying we shouldn't, but if we could balance, where in my life, what I've done, my kids don't get Christmas clothes. So it's 20 and 15 ever since they were babies. I was like, whatever is in the wardrobe, somebody hasn't
Christmas.
seen you wearing it.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
take it out and wear that. And
Yes.
slowly it took them out in this celebration. So I said to them, listen, when mommy has money, mommy's gonna cook like nice food, like the fish and the chicken. Because we grew up where Christmas is where you get all sorts of protein, chicken, beef.
Yes.
You know, it's on or Sunday month end. You get all that lekker kos and stuff like that. I've told my kids this, we don't celebrate Christmas. We don't do those things. You do well at school, we celebrate that. You do well in sports, we celebrate that. On your birthday, we go
I
all
love
out.
that. I always say, and I always try and practice this in my family, and I always say, I don't reward bad behavior.
Yes.
And I always say that, you know what, kids are yearning for parents to discipline them.
Yes.
Kids love feeling that their parents are invested in their best interests. They're waiting for mom and dad to say, no, you can't.
Yes.
They're waiting for consequences.
Yeah.
But because we feel guilty about so many things, about the things that we couldn't get when growing up, that our parents couldn't give us, we overcompensate.
True.
Yes.
And we harm our kids by not being firm, by not instilling discipline.
Yes.
So I would rather feel bad about being tough on my daughter and telling her like it is,
Yeah.
and taking a walk afterwards and biting on my back teeth or whatever,
Yeah.
you know, for instead of pleasing myself and being in her best, in her good books, and the day I'm no longer there, she finds herself wanting.
Yeah.
So I'm not raising her for myself.
Yeah.
You know, I'm raising her to be independent. So it's important for me to be truthful, and sometimes die Wahrheit maak seer.
Yeah. So thank you for joining us today. I wish that we had extra time because you're so fascinating. Miss James, you've healed a part of me. A young girl in me from the township who got to where she is, and now I look at you and I know it's possible.
Oh, absolutely. If that was the only reason for this podcast today, that I could inspire one person to unleash who they're meant to be, then I'm grateful for this podcast. It's meant to touch lives.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Now, to every parent out there, single fathers, single mothers, you're going through the most. You are exhausted and you're tired and you don't know how you're going to put one foot before another. Take a breath and do that. There's always the light at the end of a tunnel.
Absolutely. And we are all broken.
Yeah.
Every person walking
Yes.
around the world is broken.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But I love the fact that we can always rebuild.
Yes.
Hence, our
yes.
podcast is called Bent, but
But
not,
not
broken.
broken.
I love
Until
it.
we see each other again.
Yes.
Thank you, Miss
I hope you're going to
James.
come back.
She has
Anytime.
to.
It was so nice chatting. You know, when women get together and with ourselves,
And
we
we
can
tear
go on
up.
for days.
Yeah, for
and
days.
We laugh and we cry. And
We
we
just
do
need
all
the
sorts of-
sisters now.
I thought you would come with something, you know,
I
like.
should have brought
next
some
time.
cook sisters next
Next
time.
invite.
But thank you so much for having
Thank
me.
you so
It's been
much.
awesome.
Appreciate you.
Can we have a hug?
Yes.
Can we have a hug?
It's going to be that mummy hug. You know the old one?
I'm telling you. Oh, thank you so much, and God bless you. God bless you.